my Flagstaff home. Gosh, I haven't done a video on this channel for quite some time, and I haven't done a blog post even on my blog at myflagstaffhome.com in quite some time. But anyway, for those of you who have been subscribers, thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for not unsubscribing during this time of absence. And for those of you who've come over from my other YouTube channel and blog called Busy Being Jen, thank you so much for coming over and checking out this channel as well. I'll link that channel in the little space below for those of you who aren't familiar with my other channel. But anyway, so this channel, of course, is about my home in Flagstaff, Arizona, and the things that my husband and I do, and the things that are going on around town, as well as, you know, some of my little ventures. And today I'm talking about gardening. I like to refer to it as my dreams of green. I'm even wearing green today to commemorate that. And dreams of green basically for me mean that it's winter and I'm dreaming of my garden in the summer and my yard, really, in general. But usually, well, always here, in the wintertime, I have to start thinking about my summer garden because we have a really short growing season in Flagstaff. We can get a 50% chance, up to a 50% chance of snow in the middle of, or not snow, but frost in the middle of June. And we have a 50% chance of frost in the middle of September. So basically, I think the official number is 103 days is our growing season here. And so if we don't get stuff started indoors, then we're never getting a harvest in a vegetable garden. And so I start thinking about my garden usually in January, thinking about what I want to grow, how things went last year, which things went well, which things didn't grow very well, which things I want to try and give another shot to again, which ones I'm ready to just scrap after a few years of bombing. But anyway, this year I started thinking of it a little earlier because the seed company where I like to order my seeds, and that's at, it's called Pine Tree Garden Seeds. I think that's the name of it. It's Pine Tree Garden Seeds. But their address is superseeds.com, and I'll link all this stuff over on my blog at myflagstaffhome.com. So if you're interested in any of that, they have a lot of different varieties of seeds and bulbs and tubers and different things like that. They have a lot of heirloom varieties, and they also have a lot of different kinds of varieties of plants that are for short growing seasons. So that's why I'm always gravitating over to that website. So in November, I placed an order with them because they were having a Black Friday sale. It was the first time that I'd ever known that they'd had a Black Friday sale, so of course I couldn't resist. And so I'm not ordering seeds, or I wasn't ordering seeds in January because I did it before that. But now here we are. This is the 6th of February, and I always start my seeds indoors on the last day of February. And I start them in an aero garden inside the house. It's one of those hydroponic gardens, and it has like grow lights over it. And normally a regular aero garden has 6 or 7 different places to grow a full plant. But they also have this insert called, in their seed starter kit. And so you put in these little plugs, there's a whole bunch of them, and you start your seeds there. And so then once they start to outgrow this thing, I remove them from the seed starter thing in the aero garden, put them in pots of soil in a window upstairs in an extra bedroom. It is a south-facing window. And I used to put them on little, like those TV tray kind of things, those little tables in front of our sliding glass door downstairs, which also is south-facing, but I have a kitten now. I think you might have seen her up there. She was just up there. But she'll probably come visit us sometimes. Her name's Mary. And because she is only 2, not quite 2, she gets into everything. So I know she would jump up on those things and knock them over. So last year when she was 1, I put everything in my, oh, she's gonna run upstairs. There she goes. Anyway, so last year I put them in this bedroom upstairs so I could close the door and keep her out of there. So I'll be doing that. And then once they just continue to grow in those pots. And then until I get to May 1st. And at May 1st, I put a lot of the things out in my garden. My tomatoes go out there, and I'll show you what I put them in to protect them. Because in May, sometimes we still get snow. Not very much, but we'll get snow, and it's like the heat is still kicking on. The heater is still kicking on in the house in May. We still go down below freezing regularly in May. And so they need to be protected, and so I put my tomatoes out. The squash plants or cucumbers, things like that, I keep inside until we get to June usually, and then I will protect those as well. And then there are lots of different kinds of things like leafy greens and peas and beans and stuff like that that can go straight into the ground as seeds, and they'll grow just fine. So what I wanted to do today is just show you some of the things that I've gotten as I'm dreaming of my garden. So let me start by showing you some seeds that I ordered. So I don't forget to tell you, there are a couple things I don't have. I ordered some potato tubers, and I'll do a video to show you how I plant and grow tomatoes, because I do them in buckets, and there's a way of getting more potatoes. So I ordered those from Pine Tree Garden Seeds, and they don't send them until about the time that you should be planting them. And so I don't have those. And the other thing that I ordered that I don't have are these rhizomes for hops plants. My husband wants to grow hops. He doesn't make beer, but he has friends who do, and hops apparently is hard to come by. And so he wants to grow hops and then like trade it for beer, I guess. But anyway, so those don't come until about the time that you would plant them too. So anyway, let me show you. This is a notebook that I have, and this is where I store my seeds. For a long time, I would just take my seed packets and kind of shove them in a box, and inevitably, they were all mixed up, and I couldn't tell what I had, and then I would order the same stuff that I already had leftover seeds for. And then some of the seed packets would get turned on their side and dump out and all that kind of stuff. So I saw this somewhere, probably on Pinterest or something like that. This is just like a 2-inch binder, and inside are these plastic sleeves that are made for baseball cards. So can you see the little sections there? So you don't want to get the kind for business cards, because that would be too small for the seed packets. So some of the seed packets fit straight into these without any folding. Most of them, though, I have to kind of fold over. But this is a really good way of storing seeds. And so I have dividers in here. And so they're divided up by vegetable or category of plant. And then each section, you can see here, I put the seeds in. So it's been a really great way to organize my seeds. And I have sections for beans, beets, carrots, cucumbers, herbs, lettuce, peas, radishes, squash, tomatoes, and then I have a miscellaneous section in there too. I don't even know what's in that section, but we'll look. So I thought, well, let me see what it is right now anyway. Oh, I had gourds, and there's a few kinds of flowers and stuff, but so in the front here, in the pocket in the front of this, I have all the seed packets that I recently ordered. I put them there in the front rather than filing them in the rest of this, because I want to make sure that I use the newest seeds that I have, and that I don't forget about using any of them. So let me just tell you what I got. So I started out with, well, here's a package of something that I really got it more for decorative purposes. It's for a plant called lovage, which apparently gets to be, excuse me, like 6 feet tall or something, really big and bushy. And it sort of is like celery, I guess. And I guess I've forgotten the information about it, but at some point, maybe when the shoots are young, I don't know. At some point, it's got a milder flavor. I think that's when the shoots are young, and you could take that and put little pieces of it in salad. As they get stronger, apparently, you're supposed to use it in soups and things to kind of calm the flavor down. But I'm mostly doing it because my backyard is, you know, I live in a forest. My backyard backs up to forest. It is fenced. That sort of protects us from critters, keeps things from eating my garden, keeps my dogs from getting skunked. Although one time they did get skunked through the crack of the fence. That was a disaster. We won't go into that now. But anyway, so we have our yard kind of naturally landscaped. It is landscaped, but we have natural forest grass and things like that. And because this is the Southwest and we don't have tons of rain, we don't have these big lush areas. And so to make the yard look a little bit more lush, I'm trying to plant bushes and different things around the edge of the yard. And so I thought lovage might be a good thing. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's supposed to be really hardy too. I also have some dill seed here. And did you know that when you plant dill, you're not supposed to put it under the surface of the soil? Because dill needs sunlight in order to germinate. You're supposed to put it on top of, like wet the soil really good, put it on top of the soil, laying on top of the soil, don't cover it. And then you have to just keep it damp and then it will grow. Who knew? I just found out because I took a gardening class last summer. Okay, another thing I have here is a cucumber. It's called Boston pickling cucumber. And I have hit or miss luck with cucumbers. One year I had an absolute bumper crop. I would go out there every day and find cucumbers that had just escaped my view, and they'd be huge. And so I do like to do pickling, and or you know, canning. I do refrigerator pickles for my cucumbers rather than actually going through the canning process, because when you can do that, but you'll notice in the grocery store that some some pickles are on the regular shelf and some are in the refrigerated section. The ones that are on the shelf have gone through a heat process, and the ones in the refrigerated area have not gone through a heat process. And the difference is that the ones that have not been heated are more crisp. And so we tend to like our pickles a little bit more crispy, and so we do a refrigerator pickling. So I'm hoping I'll get some. Last year I made some batches of pickles, but I got my pickles or my cucumbers from the farmer's market. So hopefully I'll have some luck with that this year. Okay, I got a couple of new kinds of tomato seeds this year. Now, in the past, I am going to do this again this year. I've grown San Marzanos, they look like Romas, but they're not the kind that you would slice and put in a salad. They have hardly any liquid in them, and they're pulpy. They would be icky to eat. So why, you might ask, why would we grow these? Because they make really nice, thick, very flavorful sauces. And also, I took my San Marzanos from last year and I sliced them in half, put them on a little pan, drizzled them with oil, salt and pepper, a little bit of thyme. You put it in the oven at 450 for 15 minutes. And then you turn the oven off, don't open the door, leave the tomatoes in there for a couple of hours. And what happens is you make a sort of sun-dried tomato. Sun-dried, because they're in the oven. But then I just froze them in Ziploc bags. And so I really, in the wintertime, hate eating tomatoes because they don't taste like anything. They're icky. You know that they've come from a long ways away, unless you live someplace where it's a really warm climate and they're grown locally. They're more than likely coming from a really long ways away, and they're forced ripened. Like, you know, if you ripen a tomato in the windowsill, it doesn't have the same flavor. If you ripen it, however, on the on the vine or not, but like in a cold space, that's what I do with all of my green tomatoes at the end of the summer. Is I harvest them, put them on a rack in the garage where the cold air can circulate around them, and we will eat ripe tomatoes into November, and they do have good flavor that way. So anyway, I am. How did I even get on that? All that to say that I like to have sun-dried tomatoes for the winter time, so that in recipes where I would maybe use just regular tomatoes, I can put those in, get a really nice, fresh tomato taste, you know, from those sun-dried tomatoes and not buy the ones at the store that taste icky. In the past, I've also grown mortgage lifter tomatoes. They're big, almost red to the airing on the side of purple. Those are really nice. I've also grown, they're the ones, they're heirloom, and they're the ones that look bunchy, kind of like a drawstring bag sort of thing. I've also grown these ones called Kellogg's breakfast tomatoes, which are pretty big and they're kind of yellow-orange. And then these other ones called Brandywines that are smooth, round, pink. And so I decided to grow something different this year. I've been growing the same kind of tomatoes for the last several years. I'm gonna grow 3 San Marzanos though, just so that I can have lots of sun-dried tomatoes next winter. But anyway, I got this one called an Anna Russian tomato, and it's 65 days, it says. It's an indeterminate, so that'll get really big. And then I also got another indeterminate, it's about the same amount of time, and it's called Black Krim, K-R-I-M. If I remember correctly, both of these are a little bit smaller tomato than what I've been growing, and yeah, I just thought I would try something new. So, so I got those 2, and I'll probably grow a black cherry tomato because we tend to not get our tomatoes to ripen until the end of the summer, or like I said, I ripen them in the garage when fall comes. But cherry tomatoes will ripen throughout the summer, and so the black cherry tomatoes are kind of big, fat, and they're really dark purple. So, okay, so then these are all my leafy things that I got. I got a Tyee, T-Y-E-E, spinach, kale. What kind of kale? Dwarf blue curled. I got something called an all year round lettuce, and you can plant it in the spring. So lettuce doesn't like hot weather. It's really good to plant in the spring when it's still cold out, and it'll start to bolt and die off when the weather gets warmer, and then you can plant it again at the end of the summer when it's starting to cool off again. Of course, this is really different depending on where you live. So I used to live in the Phoenix area in the desert. It gets to be 120 in the summer. It's pretty warm. Actually, I heard there's supposed to be 80 degrees down there this weekend. So this would be really good kind of thing to grow in the winter in that area. I got some chard. It's called rhubarb chard. And this is also one that likes, well, all leafy greens like cool temperatures, I think. And then this other one is called a spicy Italian mix of greens. And this has, does it say what it has in it? It doesn't say on the label what it has, but it has a bunch of things. You wouldn't make a salad with this. You would add this to salad. So it has like arugula and, you know, just other, I don't even remember, but other kinds of greens that have, you know, have a bite to them. So you would take a few of these things and add them to your boring tasting, I don't use iceberg lettuce, but you know, any other kind of, just kind of bland tasting greens, and then, and it kind of spices up your salad. So that will be fun. I don't know where I'll grow those because they don't like a lot of sun. Sometimes I'll grow them in containers so I can control where they are and put them in the shade or whatever. And then sometimes I grow them underneath things. Like I will grow greens underneath my tomatoes so they shade them. Okay, another thing I got is a carrot that's called Cosmic Purple. Isn't that fun? I think that'll be fun to have purple carrots. So, and I'll bet you that the purple in there has like antioxidant, is that right? Yeah. Components kind of like blueberries do, because like purple potatoes have that. They taste like potatoes, or just like, you know, regular potatoes, but they're purple, and so it's supposed to be good for you because of that. And then the last thing I got was a baby bear pumpkin, these small pumpkins. I have had hit or miss luck with pumpkins too. And winter squash, I've just never gotten winter squash to grow. And you know what's really interesting is that other people in town will have just a bumper crop of winter squash. They just don't even know what to do with it. And they can't grow tomatoes to save their life. And I've got a bumper crop of tomatoes and I can't grow a spaghetti squash or butternut squash or anything like that. But I'm gonna try again. These are little ones. These are little things like this. But I thought I would try that. So, yeah. I'm also gonna grow some squash. I have some squash seeds from last year. I got a mix, like a surprise mix. And so I went through them and made sure that I picked out different ones that were in different shapes so I could try to get different ones to grow. And I actually had some really great luck. I got 7 squash plants to grow. 4 of them, let's see, no. 1 was a round zucchini kind of a thing. 2 of them were like green patty pans. 2 of them were striped, like regular zucchini looking things that were zebra striped, and then 2 of them were regular green squash. And I don't think they really taste, I mean, they don't really taste that different. And the texture's not really different among those kinds. But they look different on a plate. And so I got a lot of them. We grilled a lot of zucchini over the summer. I also dried some. I dehydrated them to put in soups. I grated some that I have used in zucchini bread. And oh, I also grilled some of them. I did a light grill on them and then I froze them in Ziploc bags. And you can freeze things on it, like on a cookie sheet first, and then once they're frozen, then put them in Ziploc bags and they don't all stick together in a big hunk. But that way, now they'll be kind of mushy. They will be mushy when you thaw them out. And so when you do that, it's best to use them in things like casseroles and stuff like that, where things kind of get mushy anyway. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be doing that. I rotate my crops, so I always have to be thinking about what's going to go where. So yeah, and in the past I've grown beets, but I have a whole bunch of canned beets, and my husband, I don't like beets, but my husband loves them. He hasn't been going through those as fast as I thought he would, so I'm not going to grow beets this year. But yeah, so those are the seeds. And I don't want to get too long-winded here, I already have been. So let me just show you the other things that I bought. This I actually just bought, and this is a tiny, tiny little seed packet here that has Alexandria strawberry seeds in it. I just saw these, I just learned about these. Apparently they're prolific. They grow tons of strawberries, but not the regular, you know, fat kinds that you buy at the store. They're much thinner and longer, but there's tons of them, and apparently they're full of flavor, and so I thought I would try these. I also got some of this stuff right here, which is an inoculant. This looks like dirt. So I don't know if you can see that there, but it's really, really black. It kind of looks like a mix between dirt and coffee. But it is a bean inoculant, and if you have never used an inoculant with beans or peas, you have to. What it does, what you do, and this is from last year, these are some seeds that I had. You put them in a bag, I don't know if you can see that stuff's in the bottom, and you dampen the seeds and put them in a bag, and then you shake this stuff in, and then shake it around so that this powder is on the bean seed or pea seed, and then you plant it. There's some kind of relationship, a reciprocal relationship between this stuff and the seed. The seeds like nitrogen, these produce nitrogen, these guys like what the bean seeds put off, and they form little nodules on the roots of the plant, and then it's sort of, they kind of feed each other back and forth, and this thing just stays in a little nodule on the root, and the plant goes nuts because it has tons of nitrogen. And it's especially important if you're growing your beans or peas in a place where you have never grown them before, because they just won't get enough nitrogen. But either way, even if you have grown them there before, these will make for a much more productive plant. And I did plant some peas and beans before I heard about this last summer, and then I planted some after, and the ones that had this were more productive. So this has a shelf life. So like these, I'll have to redo these. This package says that this stuff is good through December 31st, 2016. So I got a couple years on this, which is good because this is a pretty good, big package. Even still, I probably won't use it all. I'll probably give it to somebody, give part of it to someone. So yeah, so I have that. And then the last thing that I bought is a package of what are called Cozy Coats. They're also known as Walls of Water. I'm gonna pop in a picture here so you can see this, but these are like plastic teepees almost that will go around a plant out in your garden. You fill these little cylinders with water that the sun heats up, and then it warms the ground and it protects the plant. Even down to 16 degrees and with snow, it protects them under the ground when it's still cold. And so May 1st, when I put my tomatoes that have been growing in my bedroom upstairs, I put them out there and I put them inside of these, and it protects them from the elements because we still have up to a 50% chance of frost through the middle of June, and so I don't want them to die, and so this helps them. I already have 12 of these things, but sometimes they get, you know, from being out in the sun, they get cracked and get holes and things like that, and so I just ordered a few more just to replace any that kind of eat it this next year. So yeah, those are the things that are helping me dream of green in my garden. And in my next video, what I'm gonna do is take you out to my my sad looking backyard right now. Normally we would have snow in February, like feet of snow. And it's just been it's been a warm, well, I don't want to say a warm winter, but we had a couple weeks there where we were in the teens, and we're always going down really cold. This morning it was 23 degrees when I got up, and not too long ago it was 57 degrees. I don't know what it is right now. But, so we have huge fluctuations between the temperatures between day and night. But next video, I'm going to take you out to show you my dead backyard, just to kind of show you where more of my dreams of green and what I'm excited to see grow as we near summer some more. I'm also going to be doing another video that shows you the process of using my seed starter kit in my AeroGarden. I'll be showing you when I transfer things into pots and taking them upstairs. I'll show you when I'm amending my soil and when I'm finally putting my tomato plants in the ground in walls of water. And so we'll kind of do some little steps like that along the way so you can see how things come along in my garden. So anyway, thanks for listening to this rather long-winded video, but I do so appreciate it. If you're not currently subscribed to my channel, I would just appreciate it if you would. Just hit that little button right there that says subscribe. YouTube will let you know when I upload new videos. Also, please visit my blog at myflagstaffhome.com. If you're one of my viewers from Busy Being Jen, that blog is real basic. My Flagstaff Home blog has more of me and writing about my reflections on whatever. So, so head on over there and check that out if you're interested. If you have any comments, if you do anything to kind of hold yourself over until the gardening season comes along, or any other comments you'd like to make, just do that right there below, and I would love to get back with you and chat with you about some of those things. So I hope you guys are doing well, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again on My Flagstaff Home. Bye-bye.